I am definitely not the funniest person on earth, but I am very fond of good jokes, like everyone else. The problem is that in this day and age, we're living in a time where humor becomes offensive. Fun is offensive. It's all offensive. This is a dangerous time because the moment we make humor dangerous, we're only a couple of inches into thought policing. Now, it's a little ironic for me to make a serious video about humor. This should have something funny and cheerful, right? It's about humor. Well, you're right. It is ironic that this video about humor and being cheerful and happy is going to be serious. The reason is because we're talking about people who are taking humor way too seriously to the point where it can not only ruin people's lives, but also ruin the joke and make our lives 10 times more miserable, which is definitely not what humor should do. I'm sure you all have a boring, depressing, and miserable life just like everyone else. My life is not great as well. I am stressed, too much stuff is happening, and you know what makes it brighter? Humor. Laughing at silly memes with you guys every week in my streams. Laughing at the silly dumb articles that people make. Laughing at the things that are funny. Playing video games that are challenging and or relaxing to let off some steam. All of those things that make your life brighter and more precious are under threat. I can show you how it is under threat, and I can also show you why doing anything in order to ban humor and freedom of expression is a ridiculous exercise and that it will only backfire. It has backfired every single time someone tries to do it. It boggles my mind in why people keep on doing it. Humor is undeniably subjective. Every person has different tastes of humor. Some like silly humor, some like political humor. Since humor is subjective, another amazing trait that humor does have is that it's flexible. Humor is subjective and therefore they're diverse. They can be in any range, at any level, and any topic, and any context, and any color. We human beings as a species are flexible too. We adapt, we learn, we grow, we have different standards than before. As we human beings grow, our humor grows too. This is why people find certain jokes or memes to be pretty much stale and rather old. Does anyone remember Harlem Shake? Wow, that's a pretty old meme. Now yes, one of the many objectives that you can apply to the subjectivity of humor is that humor can also be offensive. And I agree, humor can be offensive to some people, but I have a question. If there are certain jokes and or humor that are offensive, what should we do about them? We have the first premise that humor is subjective and certain types of humor can be offensive. So are we going to dictate everything that is subjective and have a set of standard in how they're supposed to be done so that it doesn't offend people? If humor becomes objective, doesn't it defeat the purpose of it being subjective and funny? People these days are probably going to make rule books in what humor is and isn't acceptable, as in they're making objective standards which completely goes against what makes humor fun. If you break the rules, you'll get to jail or maybe other types of punishment that the joke police find applicable to you. This is not helping at all. This is only going to destroy the lives of those who make silly jokes and make the lives of those who are offended to be safer. From what? From someone making jokes about you? You are not safe in this world, my friend. People are going to joke about you no matter how many people you arrest. And if you're going to arrest people for jokes being made about you, you might as well arrest everybody, including your friends and especially your mom. The problem with giving rules to humor is that since humor and human nature are flexible, monotony is our biggest enemy, and rules towards humor only introduce monotony. Let's say we make a rule that jokes about people's race isn't acceptable. We're going to be forced to listen to the same jokes over and over again that are not about race. Then you add more and more topics into the mix, and you'll get more and more limited into the type of jokes you can make, because people can have moon logic and interpret the most innocuous things to be sexist and or racist. And then somebody make a joke about race, break the boundaries, and everybody laugh. Therefore, everyone is guilty of breaking that rule. For example, white people are plague to the planet. Black people are plague to the planet. Comedy's biggest weapon is the freedom of expression and the limitless topic that it can cover up. To limit comedy into only specific topics is only going to make it more monotonous and boring. We all have been subjected into dry, harmless humor that doesn't break the rules. It gets boring. It gets tiresome. So when someone makes jokes that break those rules, people will certainly laugh because it's something new. It's not monotonous. And of course, the joke police will get offended, which makes it even funnier and makes them even more of a hypocrite. But thankfully, we have easy remedies for people who are easily offended. I have a link in the description on this video on the very top. Click that and scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll be greeted with things that are going to make your days brighter. And if you are offended so far, I will give you pictures of cuddly cats in 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Come to think of it, the joke police does have a valuable job. Forget that you saw this.
You never see it coming.
These people are making rules specifically to destroy the lives of people that they don't like. It's not out of concerns on legitimate harm towards others, it's thought policing, it's censorship, it's limiting freedom of expression. It's going to make your already miserable life 10 times more miserable. This can also lead to not only joke censorship, but information censorship. Humor that is based on the truth is hilarious, so censoring those types of humor can also be interpreted as censoring the truth, which is dangerous. The truth shouldn't be censored at all. The truth should be told, even if people's feelings are hurt. The justifications of censoring humor, even if they're based on the truth, is that certain types of humor based on certain topics are going to perpetuate a certain narrative or made as justifications for harm towards a specific group of marginalized people. So when I say, "Are traps gay?" I'm perpetuating the narrative that it's okay to do harm towards trans people because they're traps for straight men, right? No. This handy slideshow can highlight my point very well. I don't know who made this, but I know that someone did, and they are very serious about the arguments. Stop saying trap, an easy guide. Why you shouldn't. Trap implies transgender people or feminine men dress or look the way they do to trap people into sex. Ah yes, out of the many interpretations that you chose for this meme, you chose the offensive one. This interpretation is based on a very delusional and paranoid mindset coming from someone who thinks that everyone in the world is going against them and they have to fight back some way, somehow, including policing people's jokes. Let me show you why your interpretation is incorrect. First, trans people are not traps, and traps are not trans. To think that they're the same thing is you projecting your own transphobia, you transphobic bigot. And second, the discussion of traps made by 99.9% of people is always on the context of the anime culture, where traps, just in case you missed it, is a man who dresses up or looks like a woman, and the question, are traps gay, is whether or not it's gay for someone to find them attractive, or at least that's one interpretation out of that very vague question. But thanks to your deluded, mood logic, out of context, negative interpretation of this innocuous question, you've made this statement to sound like it's a call to kill all trans people because they trick straight men into thinking that they're banging a chick. No, it's not. You're paranoid and delusional. If I operate by your mood logic, then you shouldn't say, "Are men sexist?" or "Are gamers racist?" because that also perpetuates the narrative that it's okay to do harm towards them. Come to think of it, maybe you think that way because that's just how your brain works to the people you hate. This is awful because, number one, transgender people aren't trying to trick anyone, they're simply being themselves and dressing how they wish. Number two, the trickery mindset puts people in danger. Did you know that "it was a trap" is still a legal defense for murder in 48 out of 50 states in the US? Number three, you sound like an idiot. Seriously, it's 2017. People can dress however they want. Grow up, find a new meme. One is a completely obvious statement that pretty much everyone who makes trap jokes can understand. Two is downright fear-mongering, which works about as logically as saying, "Hey, we shouldn't joke about murder. People got away from killing others in real life too." And three is just an insult, so here's my answer. And like I said in my last video about memes, the reason why this meme is still alive even to this day is because of the reactions that people like you give. This is a place called the Dead Sea. It's the saltiest place on earth, second only to your bitch ass.
If you're blue blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
The more and more you try to ban people from joking, the more and more they will do it. People have a natural desire of seeking happiness. If you limit jokes and make rules about jokes, it will get boring. People will break them and even seek happiness and joy from trolling the joke police. Even if the trolls are compliant and won't make jokes that you ban, they will eventually do it as late as a nanosecond because they're bored of making jokes controlled by authoritarians like you. So they throw jokes that you ban right back at you, all to get a reaction from you and all to show that you have absolutely no power over them. And that's exactly what you're bothered by. They found a weakness in your power. They're going to exploit that weakness, not only because it's funny and hilarious, but it's also to show that you have no power over these people. You are overly sensitive and you are weak. These people don't want to be controlled. These people do not want to be limited. They will seek out for humor at a nearby joke police and troll them with whatever hilarious or even offensive memes that they have just to highlight how overly sensitive you are. And do you want to know something interesting? I don't want you to be mocked. I don't want people to throw eggs at you and laugh at you. I think it's a crappy thing to do for people to just mock others and or throw eggs. However, and this is a big however, you made yourself look stupid. You weren't being thrown into a dumpster, you threw yourself into it and complained when people find you smelly. All I did was to criticize you and show what you did. Your actions of trying to police people over what is and isn't acceptable doesn't help the situation at all. I don't want you to become a laughingstock. I don't want you to become a target of trolls. But your downright authoritarian practices of banning jokes and your reactions towards jokes that you want to ban really do not help. They do not help at all. Maybe you're even doing all of this on purpose, which I guess that makes you the bigger troll. Well, that's hilarious. Congratulations for trolling me throughout the duration of this video. Now please stop ruining people's lives over it, one of which is Count Dankula's. You might be wondering on who Count Dankula is. Well, he's a YouTuber. You can check the channel out in the description. Go check him out. He's a very funny dude. Count Dankula made a video in which he trains his dog to become a Nazi. The context, and I have to accentuate this to some people, is that his girlfriend thinks that his dog is cute. So he did the least cute thing imaginable to the dog, and that is making him a Nazi. Seriously, go watch the video. It's pretty damn hilarious. Link at the bottom. In fact, I'm not gonna continue the video until after you watch it. I'll wait. Oh, while we're at it, a late shout out to Mike C, Soleil, and Grok the Literate for the pledges on Patreon, and Marianne Zilina for the donations on PayPal. You guys are fantastic. At this point, you should have seen the Nazi pug video. It's funny and hilarious, right? Well, the Scottish police thinks this is hate speech, and now he's being put on trial. A similar case also happened to another YouTuber that I like, Goodfella, who is being visited by the Scottish police for supposedly an offensive tweet. Also link at the bottom for his video explaining the situation, which is just downright stupid and all around horrifying at the same time. At this moment, it's not funny anymore. At this point, you are taking this way too far. At this point, we should ask ourselves, what if our society turned into a video that is clearly a joke is now going to put this man in prison? This isn't an issue of whether or not jokes should be offensive, this is an issue of how human beings deal with jokes. If your reaction to an innocuous joke is to arrest people, then I think we have an issue in this country, and I think we should talk about it. Oh sure, jokes can offend people. Does that justify you to ruin people's lives over it? What if I misinterpret a joke that you made, and I burn your house down, or ask your employer to fire you? You think that ruining people's lives thanks to someone making a joke is an acceptable thing to do? You know what I think of people who ruin other people's lives? I think very low of them. Some people even think that their lives should be ruined. But thankfully, since you show the world that your weaknesses is jokes on the internet, it's very easy for people to just ruin your life in a couple of keyboard presses. You are easily trapped by trolls because you give them the ammunition to trap you. And speaking of traps... Yeah, you all know this story. So basically what happened is there are posters saying it's okay to be white being spread in a university. Nothing is offensive about this poster. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be Asian. It's okay to be brown. And of course, it's okay to be white. But Moon Logic comes again in that saying it's okay to be white is somehow racist and discriminatory. It's okay to be white stickers posted around college town. Unidentified individuals or groups posted stickers saying it's okay to be white around Cambridge, Massachusetts when Wednesday morning. Police were sent to investigate the matter, and officials asked the Department of Public Works to remove the stickers. The stickers were posted on light poles and electrical boxes around Cambridge Common and Harvard Square, in the heart of Cambridge, close to Harvard University, the Boston Globe reported. The police is said to investigate. The police! Can you believe this nonsense? A poster simply saying it's okay to be white is investigated by the police. What, did some black guy suffer from heart attack from looking at it or something?
Omae wa mou shinde iru. Nani?
Dean Chris Anderson tore the piece of paper down before too many people saw it, apparently seeing it as an offensive act aimed at his Department of East Asian Studies. It's juvenile, but these are the kinds of petty imbecilities that are symbolic of feelings of fragility and frailty present in mainstream society, Anderson told Metro News Edmonton. This is amazing. The trolls have baited the actual racists to come out of the woodwork and just straight up admit their biases. Perfect. You guys are freaking idiots. This was not directed at me. I don't need people to tell me it's okay to be white, said graduate student Jane Butterman. It's okay to be human, and this is just bullshit. So we also shouldn't have people say that it's okay to be black, or it's okay to be Asian. Oh wait, they're the minorities. They deserve special treatment. But at the same time, you also want them to be treated as equals. The university labeled the incident as racist and told the public that statement like, it's okay to be white, would not be tolerated. University President David Turpin said the university is aware of several incidents of racism that have occurred on North Campus in recent days. Messaging or displays that target or marginalize any individuals or groups will not be tolerated. We are working with University of Alberta Protective Service to find the parties responsible. What kind of world am I living in? Please someone tell me, how is saying it's okay to be white marginalize individuals or groups? Please, can anybody tell me? I as a brown man cannot comprehend. If it's okay to be Asian, it's also okay to be white. But we're not even into the best part. Metro News suggests that the poster was meant to troll left-wing groups, citing a chat room the post that read, based on past media response to similar messaging, we expect the anti-white media to produce a shitstorm about these racist, hateful, bigoted flyers with a completely innocuous message. You knew exactly the motives and intentions of these posters, and yet you still ignore them. You still consider them racist. You have zero self-awareness, and you're a fucking idiot. This world has a problem, and that problem is unfortunately happening in a very structural level. Despite the fact that the traps are set to expose the actual racists in the country, you still take the bait anyway. You still conform into the trap, even though you already know it is a trap. And thanks to you taking the bait, you have proven yourselves and this entire country, this entire world to be compromised thanks to a bunch of idiots running it. Speaking of traps, let me tell you a funny story. 4 months ago, Totalbiscuit, a pretty big YouTuber who does PC gaming stuff, blocked me on Twitter. How can I be blocked by him? Well, one person in a convention called CoxCon asked the question, are traps gay? He considered that question to be very transphobic. I think I found the author of that slideshow. Despite the fact that the audiences laugh at the joke, Totalbiscuit had to witch hunt the person who asked that question and kick him out of the panel. Despite the criticisms from some people, including from trans people themselves, Totalbiscuit decided to block people, and one of them includes me, for calling him out on his witch hunt. If you're offended by the joke, fine, but kicking a person off for that joke and asking your followers to find him, it's an overreaction, and you're a couple of steps away into the Scottish police. Actually, quite literally. So why am I talking about a 4-month-old drama? That's because Jesse Cox finally come out with a statement. Why would he come out with a statement in a 4-month-old drama that pretty much everyone already moves on from? I don't know, but he needs to vent out his frustration, I guess. To be fair to him, he's willing to give a chance on the guy who shouted the "Are traps gay?" question, and he also said that he didn't actually listen to the question and just move on to another question. What I find baffling is his second last paragraph. Here's the real truth of it. A young man made a joke to get a reaction, and people reacted negatively. Nope. Here's a clip.
Yo, in the back. What up, dude? So, me and a couple friends were having a discussion about this at the bar last night. Are traps gay? What? Are traps gay? No, genuine question.
Do those laughs sound negative to you? He misjudged his audience, and what was funny to him was not funny to others. No, he didn't. The joke landed to clearly a lot of people in the audience. The only person who is offended by the joke is Totalbiscuit, and he overreacted. He had blown this way out of proportion. This shouldn't be a drama at all. You should just ignore him. Instead, you try to witch hunt him. You're making yourselves look stupid, and I don't want that. I want you to look like a fun person to hang around with, but you're such a freaking buzzkill. I understand his anger and outrage more than most would too. I have been him before. I too, as a comedian, have made jokes I thought were hilarious and then turned out to anger some people. And I didn't understand why. I was convinced that I had done no wrong, but with time and reflection, I realized I had. No, you didn't. That's not why people are outraged. People are outraged because you are being overly sensitive. Seriously, can you please name me the person who is being offended by that joke? And can I have a conversation with them? Because I genuinely want to know this person. My DM on Twitter is open. I'll start a hangout. I want to know why and or how Art Trap's gay is offensive. Yes, real people were really offended. Let's not forget about them. Oh, I don't forget about them. In fact, they're the topic of discussion in this video and my last video about the drama. So please come on to me and talk to me in why you are offended by that statement instead of, oh, I don't know, blocking people. And of course, those people who got offended, Jesse, is you. That's right, you. Ian Miles Chung decided to quote tweet him and ask that trap question. Your response is, you're an asshole. You know what Ian did right there, Jesse? He's just highlighting how you shouldn't take this seriously at all. You could have answered yes or no. Instead, you just called him an asshole for it. This is why people spam you the trap questions, Jesse. You blew it way out of proportions. You continue to blow it way out of proportions, and now you're taking it personally. Not only you have disappointed longtime fans, you also provide some good comedy to the trolls, and they will keep on doing it because you give them exactly the reaction that they wanted. Some might say, oh, he's just trying to move on from the drama. If you bring up a drama that he tries to move on from, you're just an asshole, which I can totally understand. Except the drama that he's moving on from is someone asking, are traps gay? It's like moving on from a drama of someone making your mom jokes. You just can't take it seriously. This is a problem with both the joke police and the mainstream media. Oftentimes, they complain about how trolls are bothering them so much, and yet they constantly do actions that just invite them. It's to the point where a meme that should have died years ago is still alive even to this day. Like I said in my last video, if you want to kill Pepe the Frog, if you want to kill Art Traps gay, you have to make them boring. You have to make people to get sick of hearing it. This cannot happen by saying, guys, I'm sick of it. Guys, this meme has to stop. Guys, you're an idiot for saying this meme. Guys, you are transphobic for saying this meme. This especially cannot happen if you get so angry about it. That only invites people to make them more. If you want to kill a meme, it has to happen naturally by making it stale and not funny anymore. The one way for us to do that is stop getting triggered by them. Yes, you can absolutely kill memes. It's possible. Memes can die. Your mistake, however, is making them immortal. And I highly doubt that you even realize that you're doing it. So let this video tell you, the more you get triggered by memes, the longer you increase their lifespan. I've seen many types of jokes. I've seen bad jokes, good jokes, respectful jokes, edgy jokes, hentai jokes. I've seen them all. Yes, there are jokes that I laugh at. Yes, there are jokes that I cringe. Yes, there are jokes that I really didn't like. Yes, there are jokes that made to laugh specifically at me. However, I'm not going to ruin people's lives over it. I don't think people's lives are worth ruining thanks to the jokes that they say. I shouldn't blow things out of proportions when someone say jokes. It's hard to be a comedian these days, but one thing is for sure, the joke police is always going to limit your freedom of expression. So to all future comedians out there, don't be afraid to experiment with your comedy. Good jokes come after you tried hundreds of bad ones. And to those who dare to police on what people can and cannot joke about, well, here's a pie for you, and I'll be sure to shove it right up your face. Also, let's get one thing perfectly straight. Traps are